I'll keep this short. My daughter, who's 19, told me she was going to college to major in computer science. I was ecstatic about this because she's been set on majoring in illustration. For years I've been trying to talk her out of it. I know she loves illustration, but it is extremely hard to get a steady job. I wanted her to do something she could be successful in. I want her to have a broader range of opportunities. As it turns out, she lied to me. She's majoring in illustration. She got some mail about some art exhibition at her school. At first, I thought nothing of it because I knew she was a computer science major. But after looking into it a bit more, I found out her work was chosen to be displayed in the exhibition. I was furious. I've spent tens of thousands of hard-earned money on computer science. That's what we agreed on. I told her she could do what she wanted, but I will not support her. She can pay for it herself or get her mother to pay. Or she could begin to pay me back for the money she stole from me, interest-free. My wife said I'm being unreasonable, that she's only 19 and asking her to pay for her own tuition is asking too much of her. I didn't think it was, as I agreed to pay for her to study computer science, nothing else. I was also giving her a chance to do what she did right. I was deceived and my money was going towards something I had no say in. Now my wife and daughter are upset with me. I'm starting to reflect and think maybe I could have been nicer about the situation. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter I wouldn't pay for her college tuition? She's 19 and doesn't have a job. How dare you create such great art that it's being displayed in an exhibition? My heart breaks for this talented young woman whose father is so thoroughly hostile to her gifts. No doubt it would mean the world to her to have parents who are proud of her, but instead she gets anger from OP. She's already shutting them out of her life and OP can't see it for what it is. He will lose her, and he will blame everyone but himself for her distance. You are the idiot. My dad did the same thing to me. Guess what? We don't talk anymore. Trying to control your daughter is a surefire way of losing her. Her work is being displayed in an exhibition. If it were my daughter, I'd be sure to have front row seats. If you keep this up, you're going to lose your daughter. Apologize and start listening to what she wants, what her hopes and dreams are, then become her biggest cheerleader. Literally, he wants her to do computer science because it's easier to be successful, but she's facing success right now in illustration and he's mad. He is genuinely okay with her sacrificing her own happiness for him. What a horrible father. Would he rather her not go to school? Would he rather her live a life she hates? I will never understand this logic. He is selfish and his love for his daughter clearly isn't unconditional. Her work is being displayed at an exhibition. Do you know how big that is? It means not only is she pursuing her passion, but she's also good at it. Let her self-actualize, and don't offer to pay for the wedding only if you choose a different groom, dude. This is heartbreaking, and I hope this post opens your eyes a bit. My friend got an engineering degree, handed her dad the diploma, then re-enrolled to teach elementary school. Such a flex. You effed up, bud. You have a very, very slim window to make this right, and I suggest you take it because if you don't, she's gone. So I've, 27 female, been close friends with Tara, 26 female, for about 8 years now. Early on we made plans to move in together. She shared a 2-bedroom with her boyfriend at the time. They'd broken up and the plan was for him to move out and I'd move into her 2nd bedroom. She texted me 3 weeks before moving in that they'd worked things out and no longer wanted me to move in with her. I was angry because I'd already given notice to my apartment and had to move in with my parents. She apologized profusely and had always been a good friend, so I forgave her. 3 months later, they broke up for good and he moved out, leaving her struggling to pay bills for the 9 months left of the lease. She moved back in with her parents after that, in financial ruin, as she put it. Years later, this past summer, we moved in together. I was hesitant initially, but she did all the work finding a place and paying deposits. It was awesome living with my BFF and we had a great time until last month. She had a friend with benefits situation with a guy at her work for almost a year. Finally, she sat me down and told me they were making things official and wanted to move in together. So she wanted me to move out when his lease was up in 5 months, so he could move in with her. I was livid. I blew up at her. I called her a crappy and selfish friend and told her I would never forgive her for jerking me around like this again. The argument ended with both of us in tears. That weekend, while she was staying at her boyfriend's, I packed all my crap and moved out. I happened to know someone with a nice 3-bedroom house for rent. It was actually an excellent deal that I'd only passed up because I moved in with her, and I lucked out that it was still available. She's been texting me ever since about how I'm screwing her over, just like her ex did, that I overreacted and that she can't afford the place by herself. Honestly, I consider our friendship over at this point, but now that I've calmed down, I'm wondering if I may be the idiot. Edit for clarification. My name wasn't on the lease, she handled the paperwork. I didn't want to throw speculation into my post, but I 100% believe she did that on purpose. Not the idiot. Your friend's history suggests that if her boyfriend's lease were up in 5 weeks rather than 5 months, she would have still asked you to leave. It's all about her and what she wants. You're disposable to her, and it doesn't matter to her how much she inconveniences you as long as she gets her way. I don't think she's owed any consideration in return. You found a good living situation, which is no small thing in this market. Why should you stick around living with someone who has no respect for you? Putting aside all of your history, I would say that since she asked you to move out, she has to expect that you will look for a new place and take the best deal you can find. This deal came up now, you were lucky it was still available, so you took it. If she didn't want you to move out, she shouldn't have asked you to, period. It's unfair to tell anyone, I need you to move out in 5 months, but if you find a great deal before that, I need you to pass it up and stay here to keep paying me rent. There is a reason she did all the legwork and had the apartment in her name. This was that reason. She wanted the ability to boot you out if her relationship situation changed in the future. Having everything in her name and not asking you to put your name on the lease gave her the ability to do that. Yeah, it sucks that you're bailing on her, but only having the apartment in her name so she could kick you out whenever cuts both ways. It's not your fault she can't afford the apartment that she leased in her name only. So I gained some weight and in the interim discovered I have a drinking issue. I'm working with a counsellor and I'm starting to get my body back through that. It's been tough, and of course with every relapse I get that bloat back, so it's up and down. I was at a cookout with my husband's family where we were just catching up after a few months of scattered communication. I like my in-laws, they're great people. But when mother-in-law asked me how the counselling has been and if I've seen improvement, I shared some of my struggles with the back and forth. The weight gain usually centres in my stomach with the bloat and in my face, so it's tough for me to ignore. Mother-in-law said she was proud of me, and I thought that was that. Sister-in-law got defensive and pushed into the conversation saying, "Oh, if you think you're big, what do you think that makes me?" I said that I'm talking about me, my body, not hers, so it's irrelevant. She huffed and was just like, "Yeah, but when you talk about your body, you're also talking about everyone's body. So if you think your body is big, you must think mine is massive." I really didn't want to continue down this path, so I said, "Sister-in-law, my body image has nothing to do with you, so stop trying to make it about you. Not everything is about you." She got really upset and huffed off. Later, I found out that she went to different groups to get everyone on her side. When that didn't work, she went on Facebook to rant about body acceptance stuff and accused me of weaponizing alcoholism, which was not a phrase I ever thought I'd say or type. I asked mother-in-law and she said that she didn't think our conversation was anything to worry about. Still, my husband told me it was probably a rude move because my sister-in-law has always been bigger and more sensitive about it, and shutting her down like that must have felt invalidating. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm fat and sensitive about it. However, her behaviour still seems completely unacceptable to me. Please explain to your husband that, first of all, it's your body and you have the right to make comments about it. As you said, this had nothing to do with her. It's not your job to protect her feelings or to shield her from her own insecurities. If your comments made sister-in-law uncomfortable, she could have politely and privately told you to please not make them around her. But to lash out at you and then crap on you behind your back is self-centered, immature, and so entitled. She's the rude one, not you. OP's husband sounds like a don't rock the boat type. He'd rather blame OP than hold sister-in-law accountable because sister-in-law has issues she likes to ignore. OP, your sister-in-law needs therapy. You are 100% correct when you say your image of yourself has nothing to do with her. Even the people of Facebook aren't on her side and know she's got it twisted. She has issues to deal with. I've lost 25 pounds this year. Of course, that's not a reflection on anyone else's weight but my own. Also, I, a random internet stranger, am very proud of you and your journey. You can do this. Relapses will happen, but keep your head up. We believe in you. I'm now a 22-year-old male and I have a good relationship with my dad, 43. When I was 16, my dad was caught cheating. My mom kicked him out and he got his affair partner pregnant. His affair partner was so much younger than him and left him with the kids, young male twins. She's still in the picture but acts more like a distant relative. He's been a single dad ever since. My mom and dad have reconciled and improved their relationship for my sake. My mom even helped him watch the babies a couple of times. I love them, and I've never considered them to be my half-siblings but my siblings. I've watched them a couple of times too, for a couple of hours. After the divorce, he dated a couple of people but nothing serious until he met Dan, 40 male, 2.5 years ago. No surprises here, my dad was openly bi and even dated men before meeting my mom. They got married this past May and it was a nice wedding. Mom was there, I was there, the twins, family. My dad is a great dad to the twins and me. I have no complaints about him. He's never left us behind, but I think he's in a part of his life where he wants and needs time to himself. They couldn't have their honeymoon immediately, and they plan to have it in a couple of weeks. Dan wanted to take the boys with them, but my dad convinced him not to. He argued that they'd have their whole lives to see the boys and they needed this time for themselves. Dan agreed. They asked my mom to watch the boys. They call her mom, they know she isn't their mom, but my mom refused because it's going to be 3 weeks long, and I get why my mom doesn't want to be that responsible for the kids. She usually watches them for a couple of hours. Then my dad asked me, but I told him that I'm not a babysitter and if he wants me to be one, he'll have to pay. So he got mad at me and said that they were my siblings and this was just a hand he needed. Here's the thing, the boys are messy, like any other kids I know, but they're also a little shy and brassy, so when another person watches them, they scream, cry, tantrums, etc. That's why my dad can't hire another nanny, whether it's my mom or me, though my mom refuses, so whether I take care of them, I'm on break from college, or my dad takes them. Am I the idiot for expecting my dad to pay? Not the idiot. 3 weeks of young twins is too long for a favour. A weekend, maybe? But your dad expects you to drop everything and be on duty as a parent for 21 days? It may be summer break, but you've still got stuff to do, things you can't do when taking care of little kids. He should either cut his honeymoon way down or pay you without complaining, and he should also pay for them to go to day camp during the week so that you have at least 6 hours off each day. He should both shorten his honeymoon and pay OP. Honestly, a 3-week honeymoon when you've got young kids seems excessive. The twins are too young for a 3-week disappearance from their primary attachment figure. Sorry, I know that's not what you're asking. I think it's really commendable how forgiving and loving you've been. Many wouldn't have been able to do what you and your mum have been doing with your dad and the twins. I think the honeymoon itself needs rethinking from your dad. I'm sorry, I cannot focus on anything else in the story but the fact that your mom is a Wonder Woman. She's got a soul made of gold. Because Lord knows I wouldn't have been able to do what your mom did. I'm moving to a new place at the end of next month for various reasons. I'm still looking for a place right now, but the places I've narrowed it down to right now do not allow pets. I've owned a purebred cat for the last 5 years and it breaks my heart, but at this point I've been looking into rehoming it. This is where my sister and her 2 daughters come in. My sister and her kids adore my cat. Her daughters have always been attracted to it like magnets. This sucks because my sister has no clue how to take care of animals and has not taught her kids how to treat them. Every time I've had her daughters over, I've had to lock my cat in my room and tell her kids that the cat is playing outside because the 2 treat animals like toys. Unfortunately, my sister is no better as she treats animals like property rather than a living creature and neglects them. I won't go into details, but she's owned 2 dogs that have run away since her oldest daughter's birth. At the moment, it looks like a close friend of mine will be taking my cat in. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of telling my mother this, and my sister called me asking if it was true I was rehoming my cat. She immediately offered to take it and became incredibly pushy when I told her it was already worked out. She tried to guilt me by talking about how much her daughters loved my cat, and it would break all of their hearts to know I would choose a friend over family. She even insisted I was abandoning the cat when I'm not. I finally got tired of it and told her I had reasons for not allowing her to take my cat. She ended up pushing me further on this, and I told her that I would never allow her to abuse my cat as she had her previous animals. Her 2 daughters have no clue how to treat animals, and I would rather put my cat down than allow it to be abused by her and her kids. She lost it with me, and I ended up hanging up quickly after. So now my parents and other siblings are livid at me and claiming I went way overboard when I could have just told her no. Edit. She's had Animal Protective Services called on her before. Not the idiot. I mean, yeah, it was harsh, but clearly you couldn't have just told her no, or she'd have backed off well before it came to that. In fact, you shouldn't have had to say no, because she's not entitled to dibs on your cat simply because you're family. She doesn't want to go to the hassle of convincing a shelter that all her other pets making a break for it at the earliest opportunity isn't a red flag. If the rest of the family won't back you up that this was never about her, then they're enabling her inability to hear and accept a plain old ordinary no. My parents have never told her no, which is part of the problem here, and yeah, I doubt any shelter would ever allow her to adopt at this point. When she left on vacation, she had had Animal Protective Services called on her before when she left one of her dogs locked in a kennel for 5 days without any food or water. That's terrible. I would have a hard time even having her in my life. Your parents basically broke her and set her up for failure. Refusal to accept no as an answer. Refusal to do favors, refusal to babysit. Anytime anyone ever refuses her or says no to her, she's going to take it as an insult because no one ever taught her that no isn't insulting. Not the idiot, but your family is. Everyone's the idiot here, including you, for finding places to move that don't take pets. There are plenty of places that do. Your pet of 5 years is not a throwaway item. Pets are a lifelong commitment. If you can't make that commitment, don't buy a pet.